how to sew a French seam tutorial. My name is Dennett. I'm a sewing content creator, sewing pattern designer, and I have a degree in fashion design. And each day this month I am posting a tutorial and sewing tip video to help you learn to sew a little bit easier. And today is a tutorial of how to sew a French seam. So let's get sewing. Place your fabric wrong side together and sew with half center seam allowance down your side seam. Turn the fabric the right way round with right sides together, push the seam to the edge and press down so it looks like this. With right sides together, sew a second line of stitching with a half a center seam allowance down the side seam, enclosing the raw edge. You may need to cut down the raw edge before sewing, depending on your seam allowance. A French seam is a perfect option for woven fabric as it encloses the seams and it looks really professional. If you enjoyed this video, follow on for this series because I'm posting every single day a new sewing tip and tutorial. Happy sewing! How to sew a gathering stitch. If you don't know me, my name is Dennett. I am a sewing content creator and today's tutorial is how to sew a gathering stitch. Let's get sewing. Set your stitch length to the longest setting, which is around 4.5 or 5. Mine here is 5. Before you start sewing, you want to pull your bobbin thread and your top thread evenly through the sewing machine so you got a thread tail like this. Using a half center seam allowance, run a line of thread along the edge that you want to be gathering and do not do a forward and back stitch, just start stitching. Also, when you come to the end of the stitch, do not do the forward and back and just pull it off like this and cut. You want the same length thread tail as you started with. Sew another line of stitching just the same using a 1 center seam allowance just under your first line of stitching. And it will look a bit like this. Sorry, I used white thread on white fabric, so it's really hard to see, but you can just about see the 2 line of thread. Separate the 2 top thread tails apart from the bottom thread tails, because together you only need to pull the top or bottom threads. So here I've used the top threads, so I'm literally just pulling the top and pulling it along, and as you pull the fabric it causes tension and gathers the fabric like this. You then go from the other side and just make sure your gathers are even. If you wanted to release your gathering, you can just literally pull it along the thread and it releases the tension, and you can adjust it to whatever length that you would like. So this is what the gathering looks like. I really love the gathering. Thank you for watching today's tutorial. I'm posting tutorials every single day to help you learn to sew. So I'll see you tomorrow. Happy sewing!